Stock market is plunging. What happened? There's one thing that is more serious than Trump's tariff. What is that? By the end of the videos, that you're gonna know what a stock market tsunami is and how you could prepare for that. S&P 500 dropped 2.36% on April 21st within one day. That's serious. It opened negative, then after that it dropped at one point. It was down for about like 3%. Then it recovered and closed negative 2.36%. Nasdaq 2.55% down. It was down more than 3% at one point, then recovered in the close. So that has been a trend for the past 5 or 6 trading days. So it was down, then after that it turned to close up. So that's a good sign, even though it's a bear market. Yeah, Nasdaq is a bear market too. Dow Jones similar, down 2.48%. Went down, then it recovered a little bit. So Dow Jones is very unusual during President Joe Biden time to be down more than 1%. So usually it's down only less than 1%. So now it's becoming more and more usual and normal thing right now. So year to date, it stayed down 9.96%, and Nasdaq year to date, bear market, 17.69%. From the top to the bottom, it's now bear market. It jumped here, but now it pulled back. So it's becoming a lower high and lower low, right? So that's one of the signs of the bear market: lower high and lower low. And S&P 500, look at the year to date, down 12.1%. So why should we be really sure that the market is reversed? If we have like 7 or 10 consecutive days of positive, like going up, so then the market could be reversed, at the time. So until then, every up, every rally, I would consider it just preparing for the next down. So just be aware in your mind, but do not worry. You just DCA over the long term, you will do better. Because look at the past 5 years. Look at that. Look at that. It's been positive, right? So the maximum. Look at that. Yeah, they're down, but then if you DCA, then your average cost will be lower than when the stock market goes up. So
he's too late, always too late, a little slow, and I'm not happy with him. We have a Federal Reserve Chairman that is playing politics, somebody that I've never been very fond of, actually. The Fed really owes it to the American people to get interest rates down. That's the only thing he's good for. I think he's terrible. He puts us at a disadvantage to Europe. I mean, he plays right into their hands. If I want him out, he'll be out of there real fast, believe me. I don't think he's doing the job. He's too late, always too late, a little slow, and I'm not happy.
So President Trump want to really fire Jerome Powell, right? So that's why the market got really nervous. He said Jerome Powell is always too late, too slow, and because Jerome Powell doesn't lower the interest rate, that puts lower end, bargaining end with the European Union. European Union, they lower the interest rate because their trade policy are stable, right? In the US, the trade policy are not stable. So one day, President Trump put a tariff on some countries or this amount. The next day, he changes, increase the tariff. So Jerome Powell said we have to wait and see the data, how inflation is gonna respond to the tariff and trade policy because of uncertainty and instability. So the only things waiting for interest rate to come down is a stable trade policy and also the inflation data, right? So it's gonna come down eventually, no matter what. So yeah, President Trump wants to cut the interest rate because it's good for businesses, right? Small and large businesses, they need to borrow money for that, and also the government needs to borrow lots of money, right, at the beginning of this year. So he wants the interest rate to come down. So naturally, but the thing is, because he wants to fire Jerome Powell, so that means that he's going to manage going to mess up the independence of the Federal Reserve, right? So if Federal Reserve is not independent anymore, the whole faith in the U.S. system gonna collapse. The reason why most people invest in the U.S. and stocks and bond market and U.S. Treasury is because they believe that the Fed is gonna do two jobs very well, right? To keep the prices stable, right? To keep it low and stable. And then number one is that to keep people employed. So if people have jobs, they spend more. If they spend more, the demand is high. If the demand is high, any stocks, any company they buy is gonna go up. So if Federal Reserve is not independent anymore, so because president said, or because somebody says, lower the interest rate, they lower the interest rate, or somebody wants the higher interest rate, they raise the higher interest rate. So it's gonna create chaos. Any action that is not backed by the data is really horrible situation. So that's why market got worried, and Wall Street ends sharply lower Trump's anti-power tirade. And Trump's was high. Jerome Powell was hired by Trump. He hired him, so he said he's not fond of him, but he hired him in the first place. So what do you think? Do you think Federal Reserve should be independent, or do you think that it's wrong for the President Trump to fire Jerome Powell? Comment down below. So now, 10-year Treasury is back up, right? Right before he did the whole thing, right? It's already back up. It's anything that he have done just to crash the stock market and create so many uncertainties for the businesses. They are all gone. All the effects are gone. I hope US already borrowed so many loans at this interest rate, right? At this interest 3.99. I hope they did. I hope they made use of these opportunities. Otherwise, all the $6 trillion loss would be for nothing. People lost their retirement. People lost their job because of tariff. Lots of companies are closing the doors. But at least get something. Get something. Try to borrow money, loans, roll all the treasuries as much as possible. I hope they did that. So we gonna look at that probably in future videos. So subscribe. And so let's say this Trump's threat to fire Jerome Powell. Can it be done? Right? So let's see how is this going to be done.
Might do if Jay Powell were fired. How would it work out? What would the president try to do? The Federal Reserve Act says, of course, and you've heard this a number of times, that the Fed governors can't be fired except for cause. The Federal Reserve Act says each member holds a term of office for 14 years unless sooner removed for cause by the president. Now, what does for cause mean? That's going to be the key here. It's undefined. Historically, courts have construed it as misconduct, incompetence, or incapacity, but it's never been litigated in terms of the Fed. The Supreme Court now considering those two cases with the National Labor Relations Board and the Merit Systems Protection Board about whether the leaders of those could be fired. There are some similarities, and if that is the case, and we don't know when it's going to actually go before the court, then maybe there's grounds for the president to be able to try to move. If not, then here's the timeline. As Board of Governor Chair, Jay Powell's term expires in May of 2026. Getting interviews going this fall, as we've been told, is the likely process. I mean, it's what you would expect. As a Fed governor, though, Jay Powell can stay on till January of 2028. Would he do that? Michael Barr decided to stay on after he resigned as vice chair for supervision. And then as FOMC chair, the policy-making committee, that's every year. They pick a new chairman, and they always, by tradition, pick the chairman of the Fed. If the president put somebody else in, then the members of the Open Market Committee could still pick Jay Powell. You don't have to be on the Fed to be chairman of the Open Market Committee. So there's a lot of moving parts here, but the question is, do they all come together enough that the president could get rid of Jay Powell without setting off a market tsunami?
That's the main thing. Market tsunami. Market tsunami. That's the main words, right? If President Trump fires Jerome Powell, there could be a market tsunami, stock market. The crash could be worse than the tariff, trade war, everything, because it's totally destroy the belief that Federal Reserve is independent, totally destroy the trust in the American financial systems of being independent and being able to do the right jobs. So, and yeah, there are some good things, they have the longer term, Jerome Powell could be until May 2026, the board of governor and also federal governor, he could be in the office until 2028. That's pretty good news, right? Even if President Trump replaces him as a chair, the federal chair, they can always re-elect him, right? They can always re-elect him. You see, as board of governor chair expire May 2026, as a Fed governor expire 2028. That's pretty long time. As FOMC chair, annual in January. So even if President Trump try to replace him, they can always re-elect him as a FOMC chair, Fed governor. Yeah. So yeah, pretty long term. I hope he's gonna last. And it's very important. It's very important for the market to be to have faith. The reason why the markets are holding up really well is because they have faith in the American independence, the Federal Reserve independence. That's very important. So the financial system, the reason why the interest rate went up is because the Indonesian investor no longer trust the American safety status anymore. Usually in times of turbulence, these 10-year treasury will go down because lots of people start buying US treasury. So US government doesn't need to increase the interest rate to give them more incentive and motivation to buy US debt. Now it's going up, so that means US government has to pay more because people lose their trust, right? So trust is a very important thing. But over the long term, US stock market tend to perform better. So that's a good news. Look at that. Anything like 2008 financial crisis drop, that it recover. The COVID drop, then after that it recover. Bear market drop, it recover. Right, .com crash, it recover. So I look at my portfolio 2021 to 2024, just overcame bear market from 14,000 to 242,000, 17 times. So if you want to learn more about stock investing, option trading, advanced option trading, go to Master Rich Stocks Option Crypto, go to playlist. If you want to open an account, stock trading account or option trading account, click the link in the YouTube description comment down below. You could possibly get a free stock. Share, subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.